Georgia really stands at kind of the pivot of the country. We showed that in the 2020 election. So not only did we flip the 7th district, but also were able to prevail in those 2 Senate races. And it gives the Democrats a narrow, but still a governing majority, so we can get a few things done. And Georgia made that possible.
That's Democratic U.S. Congresswoman Carolyn Bourdeaux reflecting on Democrats and President Joe Biden's victory cemented in Georgia last November. The president and First Lady Jill Biden are set to attend a rally in Atlanta tomorrow, marking his 100th day in office. WABE All Things Considered host Jim Burris spoke with Bourdeaux this week about Biden's visit, her own upcoming campaign, and the White House's new American Jobs Plan. The conversation starts with Bourdeaux explaining what she'll be listening for in Biden's first address to a joint session of Congress, which happens tonight.
I hope he touches on some of the real successes that we've had over the first 100 days in office. We've seen a huge rollout and increase in supply of vaccine. We've also been able to provide a lot of aid to families and small businesses. I hope you'll also look forward and talk about investment in infrastructure as well as investment in families, things like health care, child care, paid family medical leave.
I want to talk about some of those investments. President Biden's American Jobs Plan has earmarked specifically for Georgia about $115 billion for roads and bridges, $85 billion for public transportation, $111 billion for clean drinking water. The list includes a lot more, from things like broadband to child care. And in your view, though, I'm curious, does it provide enough specifically to Georgia?
I think there will be a ton of benefit to Georgia. I've been talking to folks in the transportation community, just had a conversation with people talking about water and wastewater and all the infrastructure investment we need there. Anybody who's ever sat on 85 for a few minutes or any number of the roads really in the metro area knows just how desperately we need investment in infrastructure to unclog the congestion. A lot of our future economic development, growth, and prosperity is going to be tied to these kinds of investments. I think there will be plenty for Georgia.
Last week, you announced that you've raised nearly $700,000 for your 2022 campaign. When you announced that, you said you were the only House district to flip from red to blue, and you plan on keeping it that way. But how much of a challenge do you anticipate that being?
Well, it is a, evenly divided district to some degree. I'm working very hard, though, to reach out to the very diverse communities all across the 7th district, including many people who might have voted Republican in this past election. And, I'm focusing on issues like transportation and infrastructure and small business and things that are just really nuts and bolts.
The president's first 100 days in office happens to coincide with your first 100 days in office. So anecdotally, I'm curious, something that you know now that you didn't 100 days ago that maybe you could share.
We are all really filled with hope at this point. And I think it's springtime in Georgia. We're getting vaccinated. Businesses are opening back up again. And the president's speech, and I hope what he outlines is, more on that. What are the next things we are going to do to really elevate this country and pull it into the 21st century?
And you, as a representative, what does that look like for you, say, for the next 100 days?
What I'd like to see is this infrastructure package move through in some form. I would love to see it paid for and bipartisan. I think there's a lot of space to accomplish that. And I think those investments are going to be very important, both for addressing the congestion and economic development needs we have, but also for addressing climate change and the environment. We need to start moving towards the green economy of the 21st century. We also really need to tackle some of our, human issues. I have long talked about the issue of health care and how serious an issue that is. About 14% of the people in the 7th district don't have health insurance. It's, 120,000 people or so, and that was before COVID. But there are other things that we need and working families need to make it. And those are just sort of basic supports that every other country in the world that's developed offers to their people. And it's things like paid family medical leave. And so I would like to see some progress on that as well.
Georgia's 7th District U.S. Congresswoman Carolyn Bourdeaux, thank you so much for talking to me. I appreciate it.
Great to be here.